2017 was the type of season for the Houston Texans that on the surface showed the potential to be something, to be so much more. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about championship aspirations, but more about the promise of a better future. That's what it was to me, if anything else. After so many years of searching and never really being able to find it, and investing #1 overall picks in the position and trading and making big signings in free agency, the one thing the Texans have never truly had was a real deal franchise quarterback. And with their big trade up the draft board last year to get Deshaun Watson, there was the hope and the promise of the potential of better days ahead. You're talking about a team with defensive studs like J.J. Watt, Whitney Mercilus, and Jadeveon Clowney, arguably the best trio of pass rushers in the National Football League. Now you're bringing in with an offense that has a stud like DeAndre Hopkins on the outside and a guy who showed some flashes in his rookie season in Will Fuller. You're bringing a Deshaun Watson into the mix, the type of dude that took Clemson to a whole different level, led them to back-to-back championship games, took it to Alabama, beat Alabama, which is saying something. Like Deshaun Watson is an all-time great, epic college player, and you're hoping that he could come in and provide even a glimpse of that at the NFL level. And leave it to the Houston Texans to, it looks like, finally find that guy. To then not want to start him week 1 because Bill O'Brien had a hard-on for Tom Savage. And then when Deshaun Watson comes in, he makes 6 starts. Yeah, you're 3-3 in those starts. But you're also looking at, while he had his moments of ups and downs, you saw enough flashes, enough potential to say Watson could be that guy. To then you start losing J.J. Watt to a season-ending injury again. You lose Whitney Mercilus to a season-ending injury. And then Deshaun Watson tears his ACL in a non-contact practice. Not a game. Practice. We talking about practice. And he tore his ACL and he was out for the year. And at that point in time, the Texans were fucked. It was over. And everybody knows it. And if you're the Texans and you're the coaching staff, you're the organization, can you blame them? Because it's like, you've already lost Watt, a future Hall of Famer. You lost another stud in Whitney Mercilus. You've still got Clowney, but he's the only one of those big 3 left standing. And now Watson goes down. Like, you finally have Clowney healthy and so productive for an entire season, to lose the other 2 studs on that defense, and then you lose your franchise quarterback that you had so much hope for, and he showed so much promise and potential. Sometimes the football life isn't fair, and it comes at you fast, and it's unfortunate for Texans fans. So hopefully for Texans fans, 2018 can bring a whole lot more. That whole lot more is most certainly not going to come from the draft, because they had to give up their first-round pick to get Deshaun Watson last year. So that first-round pick of 2018 was traded away a year before. The second-round pick was traded away to the Browns in a salary dump move in order to get rid of freaking Brock Osweiler. That's bad. When you have to trade away a second-round pick in order to dump Brock Osweiler on somebody and make him somebody else's problem. But that's okay. The Texans didn't need a ton from this year's draft. What they really need are for those guys that missed so much of last season to be back in the fold, because if they are, this team is entirely different. When you look at what the strengths of this group are, I look at this wide receiver tandem of DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller. If you keep Fuller healthy, he's pretty good. Hopkins is a legit stud. Some might say borderline elite, and I'm not that off in that assessment. I look at their defense, and I look at that pass rush. If you've got Watt healthy, and you've got Mercilus healthy, and you've got Clowney healthy, you have arguably as good of a pass rush trio in the National Football League as there is. This is a team that could get after the quarterback a lot with those 3 studs coming and bearing down on the quarterback. Good luck trying to block all of them. And I look at their secondary, and I think their secondary is pretty solid too. It's not the best in the league, but it is pretty good. And when you combine that with a pass rush that should be able to consistently get to the quarterback, This could be a really tough team to throw the ball on in the Houston Texans. Here's what concerns me, though. Their offensive line. You've got a young quarterback coming off of a torn ACL. And, yeah, their offensive line, especially at the tackle position, leaves quite a bit to be desired. Quite a bit to be desired. So that scares me a little bit. Then you've got to have J.J. Watt stay healthy. He's missed a lot of the past 2 seasons with injuries. He's got to be able to play a full season. So you've got so much of your salary cap invested in him. He's a guy that's going to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame someday. Those types of guys don't grow on trees. He's still, for all intents and purposes, the real true franchise player for the Houston Texans. And they need him to be on the field and playing like it once again, because when J.J. Watt is able to do that, it opens up so many other things for everybody else. But number one priority and importance is Deshaun Watson staying healthy. Doesn't matter if Watt's healthy. If Watson gets hurt again and misses any time, or he doesn't come back and play with some of the flashes he showed as a rookie, none of this that I'm talking about is going to matter. None of it is of any concern. It's not. And we're going to find out very quickly about this Texans team this year. The first 2 weeks of the year, they've got 2 road games. They go to the Patriots, and they go to Tennessee. It'd be great if they could at least start off the year 1-0. If they can find a way to go into New England, where New England struggles a little bit at times early in the season in September, and especially they struggled with Deshaun Watson last year, and then go into Tennessee and beat Mariota and the Titans and start off 2-0, you're going to start hearing some real buzz about this Texas team potentially being a Super Bowl contender. That's a lot of ifs and buts, and if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, it'd be Christmas every day. I get that. There's a lot of hoping and wishing for health and everything else. And I do want to point out that while Deshaun Watson had some flashes and some glimpses of reasons to be hopeful, he wasn't a true blue stud, can't-miss type of guy. He made good plays, he made bad plays, and even with him starting 6 games, the team was still only 3-3. So it's easy to focus on the big offensive statistical numbers, and it's easy to focus on some of the good things that you saw and kind of overlook and mask some of the deficiencies and shortcomings. Deshaun Watson still had a lot of work to do as a pocket passer, and hopefully this offseason he's been able to work on it. I'm excited to see what this Houston Texans team can be this year. I do think with everybody healthy that they'll be the best team in the division. I think they could win as many as 11 games. I think they are going to win the AFC South, go from worst to first. And if they get there and Watson's healthy, Watt's healthy, Merciless is healthy, Clowney's healthy, again, a lot of ifs, but if they are, this Texans team could make a little noise in the playoffs. I like their chances. I feel odd saying that because I'm not a big believer in Bill O'Brien. But there's something about this Texans team that I like going into this season.